Right, we are getting some live visuals right now. That's the Chinese President Xi Jinping arriving for a photo op with all the leaders.
And a little earlier, Jyotsna, we had a view of, I would say, Vladimir Putin, who was walking away.
Yes.
He would be on stage very shortly. And what we also observed on the stage, we have the banner, which is written in Chinese and in Russian.
Absolutely.
Only goes to show the ties, of course, the no limits partnership between the two countries.
Absolutely. We just saw them. Of course, we're going to see all the leaders, including the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, arriving. We saw the Chinese President right now. All leaders are coming one by one. Handshake right there. That's Masood Pezeshkian that you see right there. Handshake Shehbaz Sharif, Prime Minister of Pakistan as well.
All right, we'll cut across to Siddhant, who's there in Tianjin. All right, we have a view of the Indian Prime Minister and the Russian President walking together.
Absolutely.
Siddhant, if you can hear us, you know, all right, there's a photo op right there with the Russian President, Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President standing right next to each other.
Smiling, and we see that. We see the smiles and the handshake. And interesting how this is happening right before the photo op and the Indian Prime Minister and the Russian President arriving together.
Yes, the I, R and the C. Which definitely that's a partnership which the West is going to be very, very keenly watching at this point, as we've gauged from a lot of our guests as well, that not much is being spoken about it, but then yes, they are watching what comes out of this, standing very closely. Other leaders have already walked on. Just to add, Shehbaz Sharif has already gone on stage, and then you have the three leaders standing here, and they're having a discussion amongst themselves. A lot of smiles. Putin, you don't see him smiling too much, but you do see him here.
We do see Prime Minister Modi. There are
all three of them, in fact.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can see that.
Well, it's more than a smile, clearly. It's a good giggle with a handshake.
All right. Well, of course, we saw...
That's a huddle.
That is, definitely. We saw Iran's Masood Pezeshkian walk by, as well as Pakistan's Prime Minister. Yes. And there you have Siddhant, of course, if you're there. We see the talks right here. The Bilateral is going to take place. And they're walking together. We see the balance that's going to happen.
Crossing Shehbaz Sharif. Look at that photo op with the Russian President and Indian Prime Minister walking right past. Clearly no eye contact made, and each leader going towards their respective flags.
Right.
And you have the Iranian President standing.
Masood Pezeshkian right there.
The Tajik leader, Ramos, and there you have a close-up of the Iranian President.
Right there next to the flags, ready for a photo op, right there.
The photo session now begins. Начинается фотосъемка. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the photo op, and you have security, the Chinese security pacing towards... Oh, there's another huddle there between the three leaders. And as you see, the Chinese President, you see the back of the Russian President and the Indian Prime Minister having another quick discussion amongst themselves.
We will be watching another bilateral that's going to take place between the Russian President and the Indian Prime Minister there.
Yeah, with the security protocol moving along with them.
And that was the photo op.
All right, now let's quickly cut across to Siddhant, who's there in Tianjin. Siddhant, and you always have very keen observations. Give us your take on what we just saw.
I think very interesting visuals that will live and be observed globally from Washington to Islamabad. We saw those visuals of the Russian President, the Indian Prime Minister walking past with other world leaders also standing, including the Pakistani Prime Minister. But I think there will be a meme fest on social media very soon. That I can predict for sure. But the RIC leaders, the Russia, India, China leaders, of course, this is not structured meeting. This is something that all the leaders just were being welcomed and had a conversation. But powerful visuals indeed, a visual which will be surely noted in Washington. We saw the comments coming from the trade advisor. It is, of course, nighttime in Washington, but as the day breaks, there will be outcomes and visuals for the leaders to see. Now, of course, leaders will be shortly going to the plenary hall and will be making their address. Of course, the Chinese president is the host, and he, of course, will be the first leader to talk and talk about the Chinese focus, the Chinese agenda at this year's SCO Summit. The focus remains on regional cooperation, on connectivity, on multilateralism. These are the key focus areas from the Chinese side. But remember, this is the biggest SCO Summit till date in the history of this grouping. This grouping was formed in 2001. It has grown since then in every sense possible. Just having Russia, China, and the four Central Asian countries, then expanding to India, Pakistan, then Iran, and now more and more countries from the wider Eurasian region is keen to be part of this grouping. We will, of course, get to know as to what other leaders are going to say, but for sure the Indian Prime Minister is going to highlight the issue of cross-border terrorism. That is something that the Indian Prime Minister is going to talk about, especially from Pakistan. When it comes to connectivity, Chabahar Port remains the buzzword from the Indian side. When it comes to regional connectivity, and this is something that the Indian side has referred to in the past as well, and focused on as to how there can be a cultural connectivity. In fact, India has been talking about its shared cultural connectivity to the Central Asian region. This platform is just not about India, about China and Russia for India. It's also about Central Asia, a region with which India has shared cultural heritage. And we saw visuals of the Indian Prime Minister meeting Central Asian leaders yesterday. And these visuals, of course, shows that how India has been continuing to engage the Central Asian side. In fact, there's a platform as well, India Central Asia Summit, that's due to happen very soon at the summit level, of course. But all in all, this is a packed day. This is a day of great importance, and of course, a day that will see a lot of messaging being sent, especially on economic security.
Yes, Siddhant, we're getting live visuals from Tianjin. I'm butting in here, and the Chinese president is speaking.
All right, as we see, this is the Chinese president, of course, giving his first statement after the start of the SCO Summit. We'll, of course, be watching closely. All the other leaders are going to be making their statements, including Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well.